Hello and welcome to the live stream. Whether you are watching live with me now or if you are catching me on the replay, super excited to be here. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what are the best types of live streaming software for you to use. And specifically, I've done a couple of reviews of different live streaming software, and I had a lot of comments and I had a lot of messages where people said, okay, that's great that you've reviewed them, but which one is the best one for my needs? So I thought, okay, let's get into it because I'm going to talk about the different live streaming software that I have reviewed, and make sure that you check out the links in the description because I'll put the link to the entire replay there. But we're also going to cover all these different types so that you can understand their ease of use, the functionality that you get with them, how resource intensive they are, so what type of computer you need to have in order to run it efficiently, costs, and what I think would be the best for you or if it's not for you. So we're going to look at that for each one. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah Nguyen and I kind of live stream about live streaming, and I help coaches, consultants, and creative professionals build their business using video with ease. Now, I said it at the beginning, but I'm going to say it again. Please check out the links in the description. I'm going to go back and add all of the timestamps so that you can go back and watch things if you've missed anything. And also I'll add links to any of the resources that I mention in this video. So let's talk about oh, that's not going flawlessly. Let's talk about all of the different live streaming software options because there are lots of options. I reviewed BeLive, I reviewed Streamyard, and eCamm. So I'm going to break it down and make it really, really easy for you to understand, if I can talk properly today, what the different options are and how they work best for you. And I thought it's not only I thought that I would not only talk about it, I'd also show you as well, so that it's not like this interpretive dance of me, explaining things and you visualizing. You can actually see what I'm talking about. So let's go over to my computer now and let's have a look at, I'm going to go from what I think is the easiest software option to the more complex and involved one. So let's start with, this is a look at eCamm Live. So behind the scenes of eCamm Live. So hopefully you can see my screen, and according to the software that you can. I really like eCamm Live because it's incredibly easy to use. So after you've logged in, this is a background that I uploaded, but it's really easy to use. So you can add the camera sources easily on the top left here. So everything happens on the left-hand side. You can add screens, really. You can share your screen. That's a big question I get asked all the time. How do you share your screen? And BeLive makes it really, really easy to do. So you'd select, screen, and then you can choose either an entire screen or you can choose an application window. You can also add overlays and media as well. And it really is a simple option to use, particularly if you don't have a very if you have a bit of an older computer. It's web-based, so you run it off your browser as opposed to downloading software and using your your computer's processing power. So in terms of resource intensiveness, it doesn't require a lot because it's browser based, and gives you a lot of functionality. It lets you brand yourself really easily, so you can add overlays, you can add videos, you can add different people to the live stream as well. So at the time of this recording, you can add 2 guests on if you're on the free plan, or you can add 4 people on if you're on the next level up, which is the paid plan. So I really love BeLive if, one, you're not incredibly technical or you don't really have time to learn software and you just want live streaming software that works. So BeLive, I've been really impressed with how easy they are to use and the functionality that you have to use them. And in terms of pricing, I think they're pretty fair. So you can pay monthly or annually, as you do with most software providers, and they've got a free version and they also have a paid version as well. So in terms of the free version, it's pretty generous, really, for the software solution that you get. You can do 3 shows a month, you can add assets and overlays, it just has their branding on it. But with their paid version, which is $29.99 a month, you get unlimited live streaming options, as well as the ability to add your own branding and overlays. So really love BeLive as an option in terms of how easy it is to use, how much functionality you have, the cost for what you get, and how you don't need to have a really fancy computer to have lots of functionality on your live streams. Now, I think it definitely is for you if you enjoy all of those things. I think it's not for you if you want to add lots more people to the live stream. So let's just say you want to add more than 4 people to the live stream. You can't do that with BeLive at the time of this recording. I know they're constantly working on things, so I think that this may be in the works, but I may be spreading rumors, so don't take that as golden. The other thing that the other reason that BeLive may not be for you, I found with BeLive, I really loved how easy it was to use, but one of the restrictions that you have with BeLive is when you're adding your additional people or you're sharing your screen, you're locked into the presets that they have, right? So the sizing and what you see is essentially what you get. You can't customize the size of the picture-in-picture and the overlays as much as other providers, but do you really need to do that to have, a great live stream? Not really. You can live with it. So in terms of being easy to use and the restriction, like there's a little bit of that give and take there, but I really still love it. And it's also not for you if you want to multi-stream. So at the time of this recording, you can stream directly to Facebook Live, you can stream it to YouTube Live using it, but you can't multi-stream at the moment. Once again, they could be working on it, but if you don't want to multi-stream, it's not a problem, but it's just a reason why, you may or may not want to use it. But I definitely love BeLive and think that, they've come a long way. I remember seeing them when they first came out and they're just constantly adding new features to the app. And, I use them, I love them, and I think that you'd love them too if you want something really easy to learn and easy to use. So the next one that I wanted to talk about and that I've reviewed in depth as well is, that's picking up a lot of sound, Streamyard. Streamyard, they're a bit of a mover and shaker in this space. So I really like Streamyard. They're also web-based like BeLive, and you can use them via your browser. And recently, in the last, I want to say 2 weeks, about 2 weeks ago, they rolled out the ability for you to use their software so that you could live stream from your mobile device. And the reason that you'd want to do that is that you have the option to add all your overlays and you have your option to add all of the things that you do on desktop, but from your mobile device, which you can't do using just your Facebook Live app. So that is something that I really, really love about them. So they're constantly adding functionality. And this here is the desktop version of the app, and everything is really easy to use. So all of the action happens on the right hand side, adding your banners. Everything is literally quite elegant and clean, and they've got everything you need whilst giving you lots of flexibility, but there's not too much there, if that makes any sense. So that's why I really, really love them. Ease of use and a lot of functionality. So you can brand it with your own logos, you can add text, you can add overlays, you can play videos and files to if you want to do during the live stream. And in terms of pricing, let's talk about pricing. It's an important thing. So they've got the free plan as well, and they've also got paid plans because they're a software company and they need to make money in order to pay developers and staff in order to provide the service to us. And the paid plans, I feel, are also really fair. I am a big believer in paying for software if you want to actually see it improve and it be sustainable. So that's just me. Pricing is pretty fair. So they have the monthly plans and the annual plans. And with the paid plans, you get more flexibility, of course, compared to the free one. You get to add your own branding, you get to add more guests. With StreamYard, they recently allowed you to add 10 guests, and I'm like, wow, I don't know if I can handle 10 guests on a live stream. I can barely handle one. I can barely handle myself on a live stream, let alone dealing with 10 people. But if you wanted to have a live stream where you have lots of guests, maybe you're doing a podcast, or maybe you're just having a big discussion about important things, you can have 10 guests on your StreamYard live stream, which is a pretty cool feature because it's also really easy to do. All you have to do in order to add a guest is you would click on the invite button here, and then you give them this link, right? You'd send it to them however you send links, by messenger, by email, and your guest just has to click on that link, allow it, and then you can add them to the live stream really easily. So you don't need to fiddle around with, trying to get Skype to work with something and connected to the something else. So it's really easy to use, particularly if you want to have guests on your live stream. So I think in terms of ease of use, really elegant. The functionality, really amazing functionality. The ability to add guests so easily is something that you take for granted until you have to do it and realize how hard it is in some software like OBS. So we're not going to talk about that. In resource intensiveness, so StreamYard, like BeLive, is also run off your browser, regardless if you're working on it or using it from your desktop or from your mobile device. So if you're using it from your mobile device, I do have a link to the tutorial on how to use it from your mobile device. You also run it off Safari on your phone. So it doesn't require you to have a souped up computer, and that's good because not everyone does, but that doesn't mean just because you don't have a souped up computer that you shouldn't live stream, because I believe everyone should live stream and get their message out there. So it's really good in that sense that if you don't have massive investment, don't have a DSLR, don't have a really fancy computer, you can still live stream using your phone, and you can still live stream using the browser and just a simpler setup, whether that's a webcam, a microphone, and just your laptop. So I really love what they've done with the software there, and I really think that they're a great option for live streaming as well. So what I really found it hard when I was coming up with the why is it not for you? So it's for you because it's amazingly easy to use. You have so much functionality. But it's not for you if, and this was really a stretch, it's not for you if you really want to multi-stream to more than 5 destinations at a time. So if you want, I'm like, why would you do that? I don't know. I multi-stream to 2 destinations, and that probably gives me enough anxiety, let alone managing 5 destinations. But maybe you have multiple YouTube accounts that you want to live stream to at the same time, or maybe you're a Twitch, a YouTuber, Facebook Liver, and everything else. So if you want more than 5, StreamYard doesn't allow you to do that yet, but once again, they could be adding these features in the future. And the other thing that you can't do with StreamYard is that at the moment, you can't add your iPad as a source. So one of the things that I like to do in my live streams is I like to switch to the view of the iPad and then draw and then engage and talk through content that way. So you can't do that at the moment with StreamYard, and I haven't figured it out. So if you figured out how to do that, please drop a comment and let me know how, because it'd be great. But at the moment, you can't do that. But it was a real stretch to find reasons why it's not for you, because I really think they're really coming out, in this race in terms of being a really great provider of software that's easy to use, that has a lot of functionality, that gives you so much options to create your live streams really easily. So that is StreamYard. Let's talk about the third option and the one that I use. And I have a lot of mixed feelings about this one, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So the option that I use with my live streams is I use eCamm Live. And take a deep breath for eCamm Live, because I love them because they are incredibly they give you a lot of functionality. So I use eCamm. I probably use them because I want to do things like animated overlays. I want to do things like really, I wouldn't say complex, but I have lots of scenes that I want to add. And I like to use my iPad to connect to the live stream and engage with the iPad. And these are all very nice to have things, but they're not essential things that you need to have in order to live stream. I think the thing with eCamm Live is you have so much functionality, but the downside to eCamm Live is that there's a learning curve. So this is a screenshot of eCamm Live, and it takes a minute to figure out everything, and there's a learning curve to it, and it can be very frustrating because it changes all the time. And I found with eCamm Live, particularly when you want to add guests, you have to go through go through Skype, and that is really hit and miss sometimes with the audio. So they have a couple of issues that make me go, ooh, but they are a really good provider, but it's this give and take, right? So a lot of functionality, but then like sometimes just not really easy to use. So in terms of ease to use, I don't personally think eCamm Live is the easiest to use, especially compared to StreamYard, especially compared to BeLive. Like, figure that out. Figure out what you see on the screen now. Like, it just visually, it just takes a minute, and you have to really kind of, there's a learning curve to it, right? And then once you get through that, you're okay. But there's just, can you really be bothered to learn it? A lot of people can't. If you can, great. So in terms of ease of use, I think it's not the easiest one to use. In terms of functionality, 10 out of 10. So much functionality, more functionality than an average person would probably even use. And that's okay too. But not everyone wants animation. Not everyone wants, all the complicated scenes and music and things like that. Some people just want to live stream, share their desktop so they can show a PowerPoint presentation and talk and engage that way. The rest of it isn't important to them. So in terms of functionality, eCamm Live probably offers the most out of all of the ones that I've talked about, but is this really required? That's the question for you to answer. Now, in terms of resource intensiveness, eCamm Live is the biggest process hog I've ever seen. So this year when I decided to level up my live streams and start live streaming more, I invested in a new iMac and got as much as I could afford. So the most processing power, the best graphics card, everything. And that's not an option for everyone. And I feel a little bit like you shouldn't have to invest, in order to live stream, because it's not necessary. I chose to do this because it was, in the plan anyway, but I just think in terms of being resource intensive, eCamm Live is very resource intensive, and a lot of people don't have, newer computers that can handle it. So it will struggle with older computers, particularly if you want to use a capture card. You really need, a souped up computer in order to get it to work really well. It can be really buggy if you're running off an older computer. In terms of costs, let me see if I got the price up. I did. So in terms of pricing, they've got monthly and yearly plans, and you get a discount if you pay yearly, as all of them do. I think their pricing is really fair. I think in terms of, I'm on the Pro plan because I like to live stream in 4K. I think it's a vanity thing. I like how I look in 4K. What can I say? And that's definitely a benefit of eCamm Live, but once again, it's not a necessary thing if you want to live stream. And I think for the price that you pay, you get so much functionality, and I think it's pretty reasonable. $12 a month on their standard plan, $20 a month on their Pro plan, which gives you, 4K streaming if you really want to, and just some other options as well. So all that in mind, I do think eCamm is a great option, but it's not for you if you don't want to bother with a software where there's a learning curve, because there is definitely a learning curve. I don't care what all the eCamm dedicatees and devotees say, there's a learning curve. I'm pretty technical, but I remember getting into it and going, where is all of this? And it takes a little bit of a while to understand eCamm Live and how to make it really work for you. If you have an older computer, it's very resource intensive. So just keep that in mind if you are considering eCamm Live. They do have pretty good support that you could send them information and say, hey, this is my computer, is it going to run well with eCamm Live? So they'll be able to answer that. But I just found with my older computer before I upgraded, it was on the struggle street for a lot of my live streams. So just keep that in mind, and it's another reason why you may not be the best one for you. And eCamm Live really isn't for you if you just want something that's quick and easy to use, because there's a lot of fiddling that goes around with eCamm Live. You have so much functionality, but you have to set so much up. I find that a little bit frustrating, but it's kind of that give and take. You want functionality, you got to set it up, you got to tweak it, you got to do this, you got to do that. So that's why eCamm Live may not be for you. I don't feel that eCamm Live is for everyone. Once again, it's also a Mac only app, so if you're a PC user, you can't access it. The equivalent would be OBS, and I don't want to talk about OBS. It's too hard for me. I'm not an OBS person, so I just think that eCamm Live can be great, but it has, it's not for everyone. So that essentially wraps us up. Let's go back to me. So I talked about 3 Facebook or live streaming software options. I talked about BeLive, which I really love, easy to use, reasonable price, no fuss, no muss. Great one to use if you don't want to get stuck in software and you just want to live stream. They're a really great option. Streamyard is becoming one of my favorites. Definitely a contender in terms of ease of use and functionality that you get, and just really elegant solution that they're constantly improving. They all are. They're all constantly improving, but I'm having feelings for StreamYard. What can I say? And then there's eCamm, which I use, but there's a learning curve. You have a lot of functionality, but it's not for everyone. And you can get a lot out of it, but there is a learning curve and it's really resource intensive as well. So that's my little breakdown of all of the different options when it comes to live streaming software. Obviously there are more, but I'm only covering the ones that I've created reviews and demos for, the ones that I've actually used. And hopefully that gives you an understanding of these options, which one would be better for you. So if you want a deeper dive into each of the options, check out the playlist, because I go step by step into each one of them. And I also show you a tutorial, that shows you how to set them up, as well as all of the features and all that jazz. So hopefully that covers live streaming software, which one to use for your situation. And yeah, I think that's it. I think I've covered everything. So if you found this video useful, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you're looking for more ways to grow your business with live streaming, make sure you check out my Facebook Live cheat sheets. It's a super simple way to get up and streaming on Facebook Live, even if you've never hit record before. To get your hands on it, simply click on the link in the description box below, and thanks for watching.